Hey, true believers, what's going on? It's Eli, back with another review video, and continuing on reviewing the Marvel materials on Disney Plus. You know the drill, so yes. So, that's right. The next piece of Marvel material on Disney Plus that I am now reviewing, yes, that's right. The miniseries, which being Echo. Yes, Echo. I don't know why I whispered it, but just, kind of cool, but, Echoes. All right. Okay, yeah, so, the next, miniseries in the MCU and on Disney Plus, which being Echo. The first things I have to say about Echo, well, I don't know about some of you. And if I'm sure a good majority of you may be on the same page as I am. I actually enjoyed it. Really, I did. And I'm sure you guys would probably figure, because how soft and honest I am when it comes to, say, some of the, MCU materials that come out and such after, say, Endgame, But yeah, ever since we got the debut of Echo herself, because her first appearing and making her MCU debut in the other miniseries, which being Hawkeye, yeah, and with Alaqua Cox, yeah, I hope I'm getting her first name right, with her portrayal of Echo, and, keep in mind, because, Echo does come from the comics, so yeah. And what was brought to Echo in this, in the MCU, the fact that Echo is deaf and has one mechanical leg and such, and, well, the fact that the actress herself has both of that, and with it being, of course, a part of the character, and so on, just, it was amazing, with what we first got of this character in Hawkeye, and her connections with Wilson Fisk, aka Kingpin, and how, we would eventually get a piece of material that centers on Echo herself, where we get to see more of this character. She was awesome and very interesting, and yeah, because, we knew that so far that she was in relations with Kingpin, working on his side, but eventually her technically betraying him and such, yeah. And supposedly, she killed him, but yeah, there's no way, because however they were going to establish this, and, how he survived, and, wherever she shot Kingpin, because either way, because, Kingpin could not be taken down, and, of course, yeah, because when we would see him make another returning appearance in the MCU, which being in this, and what would come next for Kingpin? Yes. But with what Echo has to offer, with this character, and we get to see her background, her origins, and, from the native culture and such, the tribe, and, with her family, and where she used to live, she goes from New York to where she lived, which being Tamaha. Yeah, I think I'm saying that right. Tamaha, Oklahoma. Yeah. And, just with what she discovers and, the journey that takes her through all 5 episodes. And, the fact that we learn about her ancestry, and she's a legacy with her powers and everything. And when Wilson Fisk has come back, and Echo has once again reunited with Wilson, and the fact that, well, Echo, she is seeking revenge and wanting to start a war. I mean, and not intentionally dragging her family into this, but when they do, I mean, eventually, of course, up to the 5th and final episode, yeah, that's when, say, the forces come together that are in Echo, and when taking down Kingpin and such, yeah. yeah, just everything that this show had to offer, and now that I finally got around to watching it and such, yeah, I really thought it was good. And, just, come on. Seriously? And this is how I felt when it came to, say, Secret Vision. I know my mom also being on the same page, too, where, okay, for Echo, what's wrong with it? There's nothing, to me, I'm not sensing anything dull or bad about this. No, I thought, well, I'm just saying, I thought what Echo had to offer, and the more we get of this character, was spot on. I thought the entirety of this miniseries, with all 5 episodes, didn't disappoint. Yeah. Well, I mean, what can you do? Because some of those, how they feel towards most of the MCU material on Disney+. I mean, hey, they're all entitled to our opinions. We all are. And hey, if any of you are on the same page as I am, we are entitled to our opinions that we say we enjoy this show. Fair and square. Yeah, but you get what I'm saying. Yeah, just overall, Echo itself, with the first things I've had to say, I enjoyed it. It didn't disappoint, and the more we get of this character, really good. Just really, really good. Okay, so, as always, now that I've finished with, the first things I've had to say, my thoughts and such, now, read the description / the story. And that is, I'm gonna read the description / the story of the show. Maya Lopez, I think, I am correct, I'm pronouncing that right correctly. Maya Lopez's ruthless behavior in New York City catches up with her in her hometown. She must face her past, reconnect with her Native American roots, and embrace the meaning of family and community. All right, so now with that, let's dive into the 5 episodes themselves, break it down. So yeah, and of course, since, this is all in just one review, the entirety of the show, which I've done before, but hey, there can be times where I would review some shows, most notably on Disney+, maybe in 3 parts and such, but you get my point. But all right, so episode 1, Chafa. Yeah, I think I said that right. Okay, description / the story. Young Maya Lopez leaves her hometown of Tamaha, Oklahoma, following her mother's death, and moves to New York City, where Wilson Fisk raises her to be a ruthless assassin. Okay, so, episode 1. Well, an interesting way to start off this mini-series, and because, one of the first things we see is the origin / beginnings of the Choctaw people and such, and they were underground, and they were risen, from the grounds, and they turn into humans, and one of them, most notably being Chafa, yes, and being played by Julia Jones, a very important character and linked to the main character herself, Maya, and because we then see a young Maya and a young Bonnie. They're cousins, yes, as I recall. And young Maya being played by Darnell Bissaw, and young Bonnie being played by Ren Zwanem-Gotts, if I'm pronouncing that again, you know me sometimes. And Maya, obviously since birth, being born, being deaf, and and with young Bonnie, of course, able to understand young Maya, and seeing the other family members that are having some family time, like a bit of a camp out or something, while Maya and Bonnie, they're in a tent, and they're making, shadow puppets and such. Maya's parents, most notably, William Lopez, and William Lopez, once again, being played by, Zahn McClarnon, and William's wife / the mother of Maya, which being Taloa, I got the name right, being played by Katarina Zervogel. If I just about got the last name right. And we also have Maya's grandparents, Chula, played by Tentu Cardinal, and Scully, being played by Graham Greene. I know I've seen Graham Greene before. Yeah, he's familiar, and I know I've seen him before, but just, yeah. But anyways, so they were having some family time, and then when, yeah, like, Maya's grandparents disembark, and it begins to rain and storm. Well, Maya and Bonnie, they were still out in their tent, but they eventually came in, and there was something that was not in the kitchen, and Maya's mother recommends that, you know, her and Maya tagging along, they go to get something at the grocery store and such, and when they leave and they're on the road, well, out of nowhere, there's a car collision happens, and apparently because that was no accident, because as I recall, like, yeah, those were bad guys, but yeah, basically, with the car crash, you know, the car collision, well, this caused, and this would be the beginning of young Maya having her leg be wounded, and she would end up losing it. And as for her mother, well, Maya tried to feel for a pulse, but sadly there was none. And yeah, because Maya, of course, quickly realizing, and because she wasn't feeling any pulse, her mother sadly died. Yeah. And then in the hospital, well, because Maya's recovering, and unfortunately, yeah, her leg had to be removed, and it's all bandaged up, and Maya's grandmother blames William for the loss of her daughter. You know, she even according to her, she tried warning her daughter not to marry William, but yeah, I mean, she didn't listen. Scully, he seems to be handling this well and trying to keep it together between his wife and with William, and I guess it seems like he has no problem with his son-in-law. Okay, but yeah. And what happens next is William departs Oklahoma by taking Maya with him to New York City, leaving Bonnie behind. And Maya, you know, she had made a promise in sign language that, you know, she will come back to Bonnie and so on. Just, yeah. And, you know, even like she was, you know, she wished that Bonnie, and Bonnie too, wishing that, you know, they would still be together and maybe Bonnie would come with Maya and such, but nope. Fortunately, no. And in New York City, what William does there, well, he's in charge of the tracksuit mafia. Yeah. And, yeah. And he's basically, his employer is none other than Wilson Fisk. Yeah. And Wilson Fisk, taking a liking on Maya and becoming his adoptive he becomes to her his, adoptive uncle. Yeah. Yeah, even like say when seeing Maya older and, as the years go by, and, there was one moment where she got herself into trouble, like trying to steal a bike, and with the police showing up, but, Wilson stepping in and, getting, Maya out of trouble. And of course, older Maya, once again being played by Alaqua Cox, and Wilson Fisk / Kingpin, good old Vincent D'Onofrio. Yes. And, we get a bit of, like, montages here and there, and yeah, because what happens with Maya, and when, yeah, she would become a part of Wilson, Wilson taking her under his wing, and so on, and of course, when this would, like, lead up to, say, the events of Hawkeye, where, yeah, unfortunately, Maya losing her father to, well, the Ronin, which, of course, being Hawkeye. And if any of you that have seen the Hawkeye series, which I had, of course, reviewed, then you know, and because where we first got our taste of Echo, and then when it comes to this, yeah. Yeah, and because with what we've seen in Hawkeye and this, and, with the rage and revenge that, drives into Echo, and like, going into that same territory as Kingpin. But little does Maya know, like, who she's really dealing with and working alongside with Kingpin. And that is until, of course, like, say, when it comes to the final episode of Hawkeye, etc. But yeah, and what happens next is, well, because, there's one moment where, because with Kingpin taking Maya under his wing and getting her out there and to, work for him and with the missions and such and with his goons. Well, like there's one mission where, they're dealing with these guys, but then Daredevil stepping in and, these guys that Maya and the others, from Kingpin were gonna take care of, that was supposed to be Daredevil's doing, trying to keep an eye on them, but now they've stepped in and such, And of course, Daredevil, once again, being played by Matt Murdock, just for that one episode and for that sequence. Hey, it was worth it. And then we get another cameo, which being Clint himself, the Ronin / Hawkeye, Jeremy Renner, because where Clint explains to Maya about what's really going on and, she has no idea whom she's really working for, and that Wilson was responsible for the death of her father. And, with Clint's, having killed her father, well, that was because, it was arranged, and by tipping off, Clint and so on. And of course, with what we saw in the events of Hawkeye, and as we see it here, where, Echo confronts Kingpin and, pointing the gun at him, and, well, by shooting him. I mean, where? Because where exactly did she shoot him? Well, clearly, he's not gonna die, but still, but we find out a little later. And after all that, well, 5 months later, and Maya makes her way back to Oklahoma, and where she reunites with her family. Most of them knowing that she has made her way back. That is except for Bonnie. Yeah, except for her. She doesn't want Bonnie knowing that she's made her way back. And, one of the first family members that she reunites with is her cousin Biscuits. Literally, that's his name. And Biscuits being played by Cody Lightning. I think, because definitely Biscuits, he's one of those characters in the MCU that is the funny one. But at the same time, like all those other characters, sure, because, they seem like the comic relief and they, they're pretty funny. They can, when they help out in certain situations, They do their job very well, helping out with the main characters and such. You get what I'm saying. And also, Biscuits has a dog named Billy Jack. Just thought I'd mention the dog because don't want to leave the dog out, and not to forget his name. Just because the first people that Maya encounters and, allowing them to know that she's back is, again, her cousin Biscuits and her uncle Henry. And her uncle Henry, whom is running this roller skating rink, and she tries to, get her uncle to help out with her with what she's wanting to do and why she's back. Basically to take down the Kingpin's business and trying to take over the Kingpin's empire. But her uncle Henry, Henry Black Crow Lopez, that's his full name, being played by Chasky Spencer. He's not interested and he refuses because, not asking for Maya to bring a war here and wants nothing to do with it and just doesn't want anything brought from what was at New York to Oklahoma. I mean, it's understandable, but, but with what Maya's going through, who can blame her? And, and I gotta say, because, with Henry, he was a pretty good character, and, because, that's the thing with Marvel, because these characters and their connections with the main characters, they never disappoint to be pretty good. And, Henry being a really good uncle to Maya, worrying and caring about her and just like, what the crap have you done? And what are you getting yourself into? Just so on. And, by the way, because, that goes for a lot of us. We really got to pay attention, because whenever it comes to the characters, speaking in sign language, we got to pay very close attention to the subtitles. I try my best too, but yeah. But yeah, just overall, because with what Maya is doing, like, it's just, it's business, and with her trying to get her uncle involved, but he wants no part of it, well, to speed things up some and to close off episode 1, well, one of the last things we see in episode 1, well, happens to be Wilson Fisk, because, well, he did survive the gunshot, from Echo, and I don't seem to recall, because I swear, if this was revealed early on, even before the show happened, where, where did Echo shoot Kingpin? And apparently, because, yeah, she shot him directly in the eye, and my point being is that I don't seem to recall, maybe I did, but I don't know. I can't remember for some reason, if that was confirmed or not before the show and when we see that, But, again, there's no way that, that was the end of Kingpin at the end of Hawkeye. Just no way. And besides, because, not long after, say, Kingpin and Matt Murdock, aka the Daredevil, when they made their comebacks, in the MCU, that wasn't going to be the last time we'd see them, especially Kingpin, Vincent D'Onofrio. And no, because when it would come to, say, She-Hulk, we would get more of Daredevil on there, and now with this, Echo getting more of Kingpin and a little bit of Daredevil, and what would come next to them, just, again, I can't remember when and if that was announced officially with the aftermath of Kingpin and where he got shot. But just overall, he was shot in the eye, and surprisingly, he didn't lose that eye. I mean, a couple of times in the show, he had to wear an eye patch, but at times he would take it off, and his eye looks okay. Surprisingly, nothing severe, and he can clearly see through that one eye. At least I presume, but yeah. But yeah, overall, episode 1, Chafa, that was a pretty good start to the miniseries with what it had to offer, first off, because, yeah, the beginnings of Maya and where she is now, the aftermath of, when she shot Kingpin, she returns to Oklahoma, really good. And I don't know why this didn't occur to me until now, where all 5 episodes, the title of the episodes, are the names of the characters, and because, the ancestors linked with Maya and such, clever, very clever. I don't know why that didn't occur to me when I watched the show. And even just, now, it's, alright. Just one of those things. Alright, so, again, episode 1, good start. Okay, now, diving into episode 2, which being Loak. Yes. Description / the story. Maya enlists her disapproving family to help take down Fisk while experiencing strange visions. Okay, so, another interesting way to start off this episode, where apparently, because another flashback set in Alabama in 12,000 AD. Yeah, I think I'm saying that right. Another character that's linked with Maya, an ancestor, of course, which being Loak, being played by Morningstar Angelin. Yeah. Basically, Loak has participated in this game of Choctaw stickball with another tribe. And yeah, that was an interesting way to start this off. And, as the show proceeds, what we learn about the backstory of these tribes and, Maya's ancestors, and when we are introduced to Loak, yeah, very interesting. And with seeing these tribes and Loak herself and the stickball game that happens, yeah, great way to start it off. And by the way, because the intro for Echo, which we would get at the end of episode 1, was interesting because, yeah, it never fails to have some really cool opening intros to the Marvel shows, and some shots of the motorcycle that Echo drives in, just, yeah, awesome. really. And more on the stickball game because the team that Loak is on, well, the team that she's on is losing to the other team from another tribe, and eventually she manages to succeed by winning the game when she starts to see visions and with her hands glowing, and this helps to, have her and her team win the game and so on. And after that, and yeah, with the intro and the Marvel Studios logo, also Marvel Studios Spotlight. Yeah, just thought I'd mention it and get out of the way, because you know what it is, so, and I do. But anyway, so present time, Maya gets some assistance from her cousin Biscuits, having him to help her, get to a specific location where we see, late in the evening, she jumps on a cargo train and makes her way inside of one of the cargoes, the cars of the cargo train, and basically plants a bomb in one of them. And Biscuits thought that maybe Maya was stealing something, and even had her tracking device, had her, the location of her on a tracking device, where she was, and Biscuits, because him driving this truck that, he is worried about, because, he Maya's grandmother may kill him after this, because not to put a dent on that truck and such. Just it's pretty funny, and the interactions that Biscuit has with his dog is pretty funny, and when he's trying to catch up to where Maya is on the cargo train. Yeah, but yeah, just overall, because with what Maya did on the cargo train, planting a bomb and such, and then when she tries to make her escape, well, accidentally, her prosthetic leg, yes, that's the word, prosthetic, I gotta keep that in mind, it's accidentally caught in a coupling, and with that happening, then Maya starts to see visions of her ancestors, and after that happens, well, she manages to, get free from the couplings, and her prosthetic leg is very damaged, but she still manages to escape the cargo train. And the fact that some of Wilson's men were roaming around on that cargo train outside, it's a good thing, and for her that nobody spotted her. So and unloading their guns. But just overall, she escaped, and getting on the back of the truck that Biscuits rides, and Maya establishing to Biscuits that, she didn't steal anything from the cargo. That's what Biscuits thought. It was just pretty funny, just, the interactions that Biscuits has, both cousins, Maya and Biscuits. It's funny. And also, when, she freed herself from the couplings, that's because her hands glowed. So that was her first taste of seeing her hands glowing and what that means to her. And of course with the visions that she so far had. Then later, with the cargo train making its destination, it's being inspected by the Black Knife cartel leader, which being Zane, played by Andrew Howard, obviously one of Wilson's top henchmen. Again, expecting the cargo, and one of them being unloaded, but for the bomb that Maya placed to be triggered, and boom, it explodes. And what would happen next after that? Then, at one point, Maya pays a visit to her grandfather running this store, and he's able to help Maya to fix up her prosthetic leg by giving her a temporary one until, she gets a brand new prosthetic leg. And even Maya sharing to her grandfather about the visions that she had, and when, Scully, helping out Maya that, one of them that she saw is an ancestor, which being Chafa. And, with whatever this means, with the visions that Maya has so far been having, and as the show proceeds, just, very interesting. So then, Maya's Uncle Henry is informed / learns about what happened with the cargo train, with one of the cargo shipments, being destroyed because of the explosion, which was the bomb that came from Maya. And yeah, it doesn't take Henry that long to, realize that it was Maya's doing. And not to mention that more of Maya's family members start to learn of her presence in Oklahoma. Her grandmother, Chula, because when she saw the wrecked truck that Biscuits drove and passed by her, that was funny. And even when, say, Biscuits was trying to radio up, and asking some assistance and help, to fix up the truck and such. And just so happens that, Bonnie respond on the radio. And, for the truck drivers, those radio devices. And by the way, because Bonnie, whom we do see, older Bonnie, being played by Devery Jacobs, yeah. There was one moment where Maya, when driving her motorcycle through Oklahoma, did see and watched Bonnie, whom is a part of the Oklahoma firefighters. Nice. Of course, she couldn't go up and say hi and reunite with Bonnie. But, yeah, Biscuits accidentally revealing to Bonnie on the radio that, yeah, Maya is present, and, he's, trying to make an excuse, you're breaking up, just, But, of course, that doesn't work, and, yeah, Bonnie being surprised that, yeah, Maya is back. And then, one of the last things that happens in this episode is when, yeah, Henry confronting Maya about what's happened and telling her that she needs to stop, or it's going to lead to her hurting those that are close to her. But she dismisses this. And then one last moment we get is where Maya, at her old childhood home, she whips out her gun and shoots the swing set. And just take out her anger, I assume. But yeah. Yeah, but just, with episode 2, which being, trying to exit out of here. Just, yeah. Episode, 2, Loak, yeah. It was another pretty good episode, and, by this point, the entire family of Maya now knows that she's present, and how slowly but surely, yeah, she is, not intentionally, bringing a war to them in Oklahoma. And when she took down, cargo shipment, on the train by blowing it up, and because just overall, what happens in episode 2 and another ancestor we see, of Maya's, really good. Yeah, the one of Maya's ancestors being, the name being the title of the episode, Loak, yeah. Episode 2 was really good. Okay, now, diving into episode 3, and, because there's, 2, 3, there's only 3 more episodes left, literally, so we come to the third to last episode, again, episode 3, which being, Tucklow, I think, I'm saying that right. Description / the story. Maya Lopez's ruthless behavior in New York City catches up with her in her hometown. So, the opening to episode 3, another flashback, and this time it's in the late 1800s with a bit of silent film vibes, and there are texts to what the characters are saying. And yeah, the title character, Tucklow, yes, I got that right. Tucklow being played by Danny McCallum. We see she's taking some target practice with her father, and her father being a member of the Light Horsemen. And Tucklow, asks her father that, tells her that she wants to be a part of the Light Horsemen, but her father flat out refuses due to her gender. Yeah, the Light Horsemen just for the men, so yeah. And Tucklow being upset by this, but then a little later, Tucklow's father and the rest of the members of the Light Horsemen encountering these bandits, these / bad guys, and they're unfortunately not able to stop these bad guys. And, Tucklow, observing this, and, she has a vision, seeing the other 2 ancestors that we saw, Chaffa and Loak, and, having those visions, then, Tucklow's hands start to glow. And with that, Tucklow taking a rifle, and by taking down the bad guys. And, it seems though that what she did made a good impression on her father, made him proud, and was very impressed, yeah. And, the chant and such. Yeah. But that was a pretty interesting way to start off this episode. Yeah, once again, getting a flashback, and yeah, because with each of these ancestors, and that are the ancestors to Maya, yeah, and with all of them having that special power, that started with Chafa. All right, so after the flashback, and yeah, where we're at right now in episode 3, well, there's a moment/sequence where, yeah, Chula and Scully reunite, because we learned that, sadly, they divorced, but yeah, them reconnecting. Even Scully, he's trying to make a move on Chula, but yeah, of course, that's not gonna work. And, they just talk about Maya, and because, yeah, with Maya returning, and Scully encouraging Chula to reconnect and to reach out and help out, Chula and such. Yeah, and especially because when it would come to, say, the visions that, Maya has, yeah. And yeah, speaking of which, because Maya having yet another vision, and yeah, not only seen Chafa and Loak, but also Tukla as well. But after that, and even also seen a Woodpecker, and the Woodpecker having an important part in the show as well. Maya is out of the blue captured, and turns out that at the bowling/skateboard center, yeah, because the bowling, there's some bowling and skateboarding, you know what I'm talking about. Well, turns out that Henry, because he runs that place, well, he's been held hostage by his employer, Vicky Tyson, or just Vicky. Being played by Thomas E. Sullivan, whom, we did see in, the first episode where, yeah, because Maya first met with her uncle, and just, yeah, and Vicky not being really a nice employer and such, but yeah. And yeah, Vicky betraying his boss, and, well, because he's in league with Wilson, and, having been tipped off and such, yeah. So, Vicky holding his boss hostage, and alongside with Vicky are two friends of his, girls, which being Grace, played by Erin Ownby, and Bridget, played by Lindsay Moser. Yeah. And then it would lead to, say, Bonnie trying to meet with, Henry as well. But, yeah, she eventually gets captured as well. And when she knows that something's not quite right, and she tried to call in reinforcements or something, and yeah, so she gets captured as well. And, with Maya learning about this, and, well, because her being captured, as I said, but yeah. And, well, this would lead to Bonnie and Maya being reunited, and, well, Maya's attempts to, escape and to untie herself, and the same goes for Bonnie. And Bonnie, rightfully so, complaining and letting Maya have it, that the fact that, Maya distanced herself and, avoided all contact from Bonnie. Bonnie never, stopped being in contact with her cousin, because Bonnie had apparently just, for many years, up to, say, 20 years, yeah, where she had left constant messages and emails to Maya, and not once did Maya respond. Yeah. But just, yeah, with that, and Maya attempting to try to take down Vicky and, his two girlfriends, yeah. And, well, yeah, and thus, the fights that happen in this episode, and when Maya, takes them down, and when it would lead to, say, Henry showing up, and, yeah, because, again, Henry, who is also in league with Wilson, being, I'm sorry, not Henry, Zane, jeez. Zane and the rest of the goons show up to collect what, yeah, they need to get and to bring to Wilson, just, yeah. And, Vicky expecting to be paid and such, yeah. But, yeah, to speed things up some, yeah, this would lead to, say, Vicky being betrayed by Zane, and yeah, being shot down, literally. And even Zane at one point, he thought that Bonnie was Maya, but no, of course not. And even when Maya starts to get Zane and the other goons their attention by playing some different music, and the lights are turned red and so on, just yeah. And Maya trying to confront and take down Zane, but yeah, she surrenders when she can see that, yeah, Bonnie is held at gunpoint and so on, and yeah, I mean, she does surrender. And Vicky's two girlfriends, Grace and Bridget, well, Maya took care of Bridget easily, up to when, like, yeah, see, she would get killed, I want to say, yeah. But as for Grace, well, she was let go of, yeah. No concern to Zane and the others, so she was the only one that was spared. And then, at one point, Zane and the rest of the goons, they were about to kill/execute Maya, Henry, and Bonnie, but that's interrupted when Zane, presumably, yeah, receiving a phone call from Wilson, to just get out of there. Leave them there. Just, yeah, do nothing else. Just leave and just, yeah, that's what they do. They disembark and they just let go/free Maya, Henry, and Bonnie. That's it. Well, and for an obvious reason, and well, the fact because Wilson does want Maya alive. So yeah. And yeah, because that's the thing, because they weren't going to execute Maya, just Henry and Bonnie, but still, you know. So after that, well, Maya has Bonnie to retreat and go back home, but promises that she will reconnect with Bonnie once this is all over. Just, yeah, and she better this time. Yeah, especially after what's happened this evening, just, yeah. And the last things that happen in episode 3, well, because Henry, one sequence we get with Henry Maya, well, Maya learns from her uncle that, yeah, Wilson Fix, aka Kingpin, is alive. And then, Maya going back to her grandfather's shop, and yeah, he's fixed up and has given a new look to her prosthetic leg, and yeah, it looks really cool this time. Yeah, black and so on, the details to it, nice. And her driving off on her motorcycle and heading back to the house, up to when, yeah, when she makes her way back to the house, she is confronted/paid a visit to Wilson. Yeah, and we see Wilson with the eye patch, because, you know, at the end of episode 1, we saw him in a hospital bed with an eye patch, you know, to his eye, and yeah, seeing him right there, and yeah, that's how the episode ends off. Man, yeah, and what's going to happen next? Well, we are, of course, about to find out in episode 4. But to finish off episode 3, Tuklo, it was another pretty good episode. I don't know, because I want to say that probably, now that I think of it, maybe it was it is one of my favorite episodes of this season. I mean, not just that, but still, you know, just overall, because it was really good with what happens in the 3rd episode, and where the story's going so far, and where we're up to as of right now, and up to episode 4. Yeah, just really good. Yeah, so again, episode 3, Tuklo, not bad. Another good one. Okay, now, the second to last episode, episode 4, which being Taloa, if I'm saying that right, just, yeah, okay. Description/the story. Maya finds herself at a crossroads after learning more about her past and its dangerous shadows. So, the way this episode starts off, another flashback. This time, it is in 2008. Yeah, 8 fingers. And we get more of, say, young Maya, and there's one moment where Maya is trying to get ice cream, and this ice cream vendor, if I'm pronouncing that right, being played by Keith Campbell, he verbally abuses her and, you know, not understanding what she's doing with her sign language. Jeez, buddy. You know, he is a dick, and, like, he doesn't just, what? To him, sign language is a waste of time or something, just, I guess, but yeah. And after that, well, yeah, Wilson, taking care of this for, Maya, where, yeah, And as it was shown in the trailers, where Wilson beating the crap out of the ice cream vendor. I mean, I guess he kind of deserved it, but still. And with Maya witnessing this, she got out of the car and seen what her adoptive uncle was doing. Well, she shows no sign of being terrified of this, and beating up a little bit of the ice cream vendor as well. So that being just the beginning of what would come next for Maya, and when again Wilson would take Maya under his wing and become a part of his, one of his assassins and such. Then in 2021, years later, Maya soon about to become a part of one of Wilson's assassins, with one final lesson, where apparently the final lesson is they can only trust each other, him and Maya. And also because Wilson was getting some help from an ASL interpreter. I think I'm saying that right. Because those that help those to translate. And the ASL interpreter number 3, being played by Alexis Cabozi, if I'm saying that right. And she's dismissed, and off screen, and we can hear her pleading to, begging, because she gets killed. What was the reason? I don't mean, that's Wilson's business. So just, man, she was just doing her duty just to help translate for Wilson, and the same for Maya, just with what Kingpin was saying. But with that, that happened. And then coming back to present time, where we last left off in episode 3. What happens is, Wilson doesn't, do any harm on Maya, but he has some of his men hold her because, Wilson placing something in Maya's eye. It's basically a augmented, reality contact lens. Basically, from Maya's point of view, and as we see it, and with what's in her eye, it better helps her to understand what Wilson is saying, on that contact lens, the hands moving and such. You gotta admit, that's pretty clever, right? Yeah, and hey, that's one good thing that Wilson did. And the fact that, because Wilson having that same thing too, where, what he has, whenever Maya's talking directly to him, then we hear, a voice, which, the virtual interpreter, and the voice of the virtual interpreter being voiced by Renee Albert. I think I've heard her voice before from other stuff, probably so, but just, So, what happens next after that? Well, Wilson wanting him and Maya to have what they used to have, Sunday family dinner, but it's a Thursday. But, still, that's what they do. And, Wilson basically, and to put it this, and to speed things up some, because the family dinner they have, not really, because Kingpin offering to Maya an empire, because obviously Kingpin being well aware of what Maya's been doing lately, and the fact that he knows that she wants the empire and becoming like a queen pin, he's willing to give that to her, and he will do so if she agrees to come back with him to New York, and giving her one day to decide. And so much for family dinner, because they didn't have any dinner on the table. Just that all that it was just talk. And after that, Maya did share this with her uncle, but that's interrupted. The conversation that Maya and Henry are having is entirely interrupted when Maya starts to have yet another vision of her ancestors, from Chafa to Loak to Tuklo. Tuklo. Then, at one point, we then come to say the Chokta powwow. It's a festival, in Oklahoma. Maya's grandmother, Chula, starts to have the same thing too, seeing the exact same visions like her granddaughter. And eventually, Maya's Uncle Henry helps out with Maya by taking directly to see her grandmother. And yeah, because, like Scully and now Henry, because, Chula can be the answer to help out with what's going on with Maya and with the visions that she's having that, yeah, Chula also is sharing as well. So, yeah, Maya and her grandmother reuniting. Well, with how it goes, Chula is trying to lighten the mood some, offering her, something to eat or something, just, but, not really helping for Maya by this point and just, get down to business and with these visions. And, well, what Chula explains to Maya with these visions that both of them are having, and yeah, Chula sharing to her granddaughter that, yeah, she's having those visions too. Well, when needed for any help at certain situations that were happening to Maya, yeah, the visions happened to her, and yeah, with the ancestors, again, just, the ancestors popping up and, they're in Maya's visions when needed, for assistance / help. And Chula's experience having that at a young age was when she was about to give birth to her daughter / Maya's mother. And young Chula, being played by Isabella Madrigal. I think I did pronounce it almost right, but just, again, me sometimes. Yeah, because during the time when young Chula was about to give birth to her daughter, aka the mother of Maya, well, because, yeah, she was about to give birth to her at a hospital, but then it changed when, yeah, being with her sisters and family out in the woods to give birth. And even when, choking, biting down on a stick. But then when she started to have visions of the ancestors to help her out, yeah. And, eventually, because it went pretty well for young Chula. And when, yeah, giving birth to her daughter, and the fact that Chula's daughter would carry a gift that, passed on for generations, that started with Chafa. And then when it would come to, say, Chula, then to her daughter, and then, of course, to Chula's granddaughter, Maya. Just, yeah. I tell you, that sequence, and with some sign language, just, it was amazing, and just, the chemistry between Chula and Maya, granddaughter and grandmother, really good. And after that, well, because after all that, right before she leaves, Maya just, in anger, and so much anger and upsetment in her towards her grandmother, because, Maya feeling that her grandmother wanted nothing to do with her and her father, and with what Maya's father told her about, her grandmother and such, just, yeah, and caring nothing about just nobody than just herself, and yeah, just, and feeling like she was abandoned by her grandmother and so on, and just, yeah. And yeah, just Maya leaving in rage, and yeah. And then we then see Chula making a special garment for Maya. So later that evening, well, after a little montage, and as I said, Chula making a special garment for Maya, well, and seeing some of the other family members and what they're doing, and, say, Biscuits and a friend of his, going to find a vehicle that could be in good use, and because after the white truck that was, badly damaged, and not an exact, reference to The Lion King, just something that's similar to what's said in The Lion King. Everything the light touches is yours, and so on, yeah. And this was really cool, because, the song, As I Went Down to the River, that one, I love how, yeah, it's used right here at that moment, for that bit of montage and such, yeah. But after that, because, yeah, later that evening, Maya making her way to the hotel that Fisk is at, and she was planning to kill him, but with, Fisk knowing what she's wanting to do, and because this was mentioned early on in the show where, both Fisk and Maya sharing, one big thing in common, the fact that both of them lost their fathers, but little did Maya know how exactly Wilson lost his father. And a callback to, what we saw in the Daredevil show, where, because at 12 years old, because Fisk, he killed his father himself, and with a hammer, and when sharing that to Maya, and, he's willing and offering Maya to finish him off, and by, taking the same weapon, using the same weapon that he had, that he used to kill his father, and if she needs this, but she rejects this, and even with that, Wilson, repeats the invitation to Maya to come back with him to New York, and again, her making the decision on, having this empire and so on. And, what happens next, and the last thing we see happen in this episode, because Wilson boarding his plane back to New York, and he's informed on a phone call that, Maya has left Oklahoma, not being with him, and that's a clear sign to him that, she will not accept the invite from him, and from there on. And, Wilson, a good chunk of times we would see him be calm and so on, but when he goes into a rage, oh man, and with Vin Diesel's great performance as Kingpin / Wilson, just oh man, and this can only end well, and with what is going to happen in the 5th and final episode. But to finish off episode 4, Taloe, again, if I am pronouncing that right, just episode 4 was another pretty good episode, this being the second to last episode, and where it's going to next, and because the more flashbacks, and, we get more of Kingpin this time, and the fact that he's back, and when he reunites with Maya, and offering her the Empire, and so on, and further in this episode, and what Maya learns about those visions she has, and when she reunited with her grandmother, what her grandmother shares to her, and when, she started having those visions, that was awesome. Again, episode 4, another good one. And again, this being the second to last episode of the first and only season of Echo. All right, so now we come to the 5th and final episode of Echo, which being Maya. Yes, Maya being the title of the episode. Description / the story. The lives of Maya's family hang in the balance when Fisk's army storms the Choctaw Nation powwow. Okay, so the start of episode 5, Maya, with another flashback, and we once again see young Maya, where apparently using a slingshot and taking down an innocent woodpecker, and when taking it to her mother, Taloa, once again. Because her, the name of the last episode, but just, Anyways, so, Taloa reprimands her daughter for what she's done. I mean, it's not like she did it because her being a bratty kid, because just wanting to see what her mother does and so on. And because by healing up the woodpecker and, Taloa, making something very clear to Maya about the woodpecker, and, what's established about the woodpecker in this, where, with the woodpecker pecking and such, basically sending out messages and calls, and even when, say, the woodpecker is present at times, and, coming face-to-face with some of these characters, alerting them, and so on, that kind of stuff. And, you've watched the show, so just, and coming back to present time, after the flashback, Maya, whom has left Oklahoma, has received a message from Biscuits about Chula and Bonnie gone missing. And, well, this brings Maya back to Oklahoma, and when trying to find and locate Chula and Bonnie and going to her grandmother's house, she, out of the blue, she sees a vision of her mother. And yeah, Tallulah is right there, and yeah, Maya's interacting with her late mother. And basically, yeah, by meeting the vision of her mother explains and tells Maya that she is an embodiment, because, you know, this having to do with the visions and so on, and, you know, with the ancestors. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure, because, yeah, like, the whole thing of the embodiment, it's, yeah, Tallulah's referring to Maya, and the fact, because, you know, the whole thing of people's legacies, and that this legacy, which now, yeah, Maya carries, it will echo through her actions. Hence the title, Echo, and that's her, like, alter ego, like her like superhero name, which of course being Echo, so yeah, you get the point. And after that, and when, yeah, Maya's late mother disappears, well, Maya coming face to face with, you know, with what Chula had made for her, and yeah, because Maya, when we see her again, yeah, her attending to the powwow. So at the festival. And throughout this episode, yeah, because we get a lot of the festival and everybody there celebrating and dancing. And when we would see Maya there in the garment, yeah, the garment, well, yeah, because we would then see Wilson's men show up, and Zane, of course, being one of them. Biscuits is there, you know, monitoring and just, yeah, with incoming vehicles stepping in, and Billy Jack, Biscuit's dog, being there as well. And also the fact that Kingpin, making his way back to Oklahoma, he did have an encounter with Maya's grandmother, and oh boy, because, yeah, Chula not expecting anything with Wilson, of course, and, yeah, when Chula then starts to mention / bring up about her granddaughter, which being Maya, and, yeah, we know where this is going, that, yeah, Chula's gonna get captured by Wilson, and, yeah, and Maya, again, being there and with the crowd at the festival, eventually, yeah, she would make her way to where she would find and locate Wilson, and seeing that, yeah, Wilson has captured both her cousin and grandmother. And also, early on, Maya got rid of what was placed in her eye, you know, to better communicate with Wilson better and such with that device. Yeah, she got rid of it entirely, and I cannot forget to mention this because multiple times in the show, it's really awesome and impressive where there are certain moments where it would kind of be almost dead silent. We would hear a bit of fading sounds and like maybe some quiet footsteps or something, and obviously from, you know, Maya's point of view, you know, and what we're hearing from her, because again, you know, her being deaf and not hearing all this loud stuff happening, it's amazing, and it's such a nice detail right there. I love those moments, don't you? Just, yeah. And yeah, because, you know, the fact she got rid of that equipment that was put in her, you know, with the eyepiece, yeah, not understanding what Wilson's saying, and Bonnie translating for Maya what Wilson's saying. And, yeah, by this point, Wilson feeling betrayed by Maya for, you know, her betraying and turning her back on Wilson, and after everything he did for her, well, yeah, not in a good way, obviously. And, well, Maya's Uncle Henry being there, and yeah, he knows that, you know, Wilson and his men are there and is prepared and gun and armed for whatever's going to happen. And yeah, because with Zane and some of the men making their way there, and some of them in, like, you know, in this RV, yeah, and even when, like, Henry, he did inform Biscuits about this, and, you know, and asking if Biscuits happens to be armed with a gun and such, but not exactly. He has something better. Well, what is it specifically? Well, we find out a bit later what it is. Yeah, but good on Biscuits. Like I said earlier, again, Biscuits being one of those characters that, yeah, has funny moments and is a bit of the comic relief, but at the same time, you know, helping out, good thing, just, yeah, how I put it earlier. And yeah, and Zane, he was at one point going to launch a rocket missile Literally, just, golly, really causing some mayhem at the festival. And for Maya, well, because the conversation that Wilson gives to her, but then what would happen next? Where, yeah, because Wilson does take a punch at Maya, but man, what would happen next is really awesome, where, yeah, Maya finally, you know, starts to use the powers that she never knew she had, and, like, you know, how to use them. And when all of the ancestors of Maya, including her late mother, come together to, yeah, definitely help out Maya in this situation. And when, yeah, the same thing happens to Bonnie and Chula, where, yeah, their hands start to glow, and, yeah, they're able to use the powers that they have, the gifts that they have, and so on. It's really awesome. So, yeah, like, the climax that happens, well, from Maya, Bonnie, Chula, and outside of the festival with what Zane and Biscuits are doing, well, Biscuits, how he helps, and, you know, he has something better than, say, a weapon. Well, he has a freaking monster truck crushing over these two white vehicles that have Wilson's men, and just, yeah, I'd say, yeah, probably because they're done for, being crushed to death. So good on Biscuits. As for Zane, he managed to gun down Zane right as he was about to launch that rocket missile. Yeah, like, you know, what the? And because, you know, wait, what? And Zane having a good shot and, yeah, taking down Zane instantly. And the rocket missile does launch, but this time in the sky. And it's mistaken for a firework. Well, I mean, hey, that's good. At least it didn't targeted straight at those innocent people in the festival. And coming back to Maya, Bonnie, and Chula, because yeah, Maya sharing the powers to them, but still, you know, they have them because, you know, it's in their blood, you know, the family. And yeah, all three of them managing to take down Wilson's men. Then it comes down to Wilson himself. He tried to, like, charge after Maya and such, but yeah, Maya taking down Wilson. Gotta slow down. Taking down Wilson instantly like that, and, well, having Wilson have a vision of his own. So what happens to Wilson, like the vision he has, it's a memory where we don't really see it, but we see Wilson in his childhood room, where on the other side of the room, where, yeah, you know, of the walls, where we can hear the voices of Wilson's parents, where, yeah, his father abusing and attacking his wife / Wilson's mother, and Maya / Echo, she tries to help Wilson to let go of his pain and anger and such, but Wilson's not going to give in, and Wilson making that very clear, making it clear to Maya that she can't change Wilson whom he is, and yeah, well, Maya, she tried her best, and when returning to reality, Wilson questions Maya, "What did you do to me?" Just great performance right there from good old Vincent D'Onofrio. And after that, well, Kingpin, he escapes, and yeah, letting Maya and her family go, because, you know, earlier because Maya having betrayed Wilson, he was gonna kill his family, but again, when they all came together using their powers, and from there on, just, yeah, so again, overall, Kingpin fleeing the scene and everything going well at the festival. And the aftermath / the epilogue. Well, everything is back to normal, and everything's happy and peaceful in Maya's hometown and such. And, well, the family being together, you know, Biscuits, Bonnie, Chula, and Henry, and yeah, even Scully was there too, technically, but yeah. And then Maya showing up, and yeah, being reunited with the family, all of them and such, they're all together, and yeah, it was a great way to end it off, and with, you know, great, like, you know, song that plays, and there's a thank you note. This was really cool. There's a thank you note from Marvel Studios thanking those from Oklahoma, their involvement in the show. You know what I'm talking about. That was a good way to end it off right there and right before the credits roll. However, the episode is not finished just yet because, well, as it is, Marvel, you know, there being an end credits scene. Yeah, and sometimes in these Marvel shows on Disney Plus. Yeah, basically, the end credits scene is Wilson/Kingpin making his way back to New York, and just so happens to see on the news that they're in search for a mayor, and someone that, and how they're describing on whom should be what they need for as a mayor. And, well, Wilson seems to be that guy for that position. And yeah, and Wilson, if it's not obvious already, Wilson getting the idea of becoming mayor. Oh boy. And yep, because the next time we see Wilson, as well as Daredevil/Matt Murdock, yeah, where that goes and where Kingpin is just, whoa, he's the freaking mayor? Wow, that's going to be interesting, and yeah, diving into that. Yeah, but that was a really good end credit scene right there, and yeah, building up / teasing where we're going to see Wilson/Kingpin next, and obviously, yeah, this guy being involved. Yeah, but just, yeah, overall, the 5th and final episode of Echo, Maya, it was another good episode, and again, this being the 5th and final episode of this mini-series, yeah. With what the last episode had to offer, where it all comes down to, and where, yeah, Maya, aka the Echo, finally using her powers, and with the help from her ancestors, her late mother, her family coming together, the final showdown, Wilson once again being defeated, and yeah, because Maya, through working alongside with Wilson once and for all, just, yeah, everything about this episode was really good, and just, yeah, the entirety of Echo was excellent. I enjoyed it, and say what you will, I know that probably some of you didn't get into Echo, but hey, I'm sure for the rest of you, you're on the same page as me. Yeah, Echo wasn't another bad MCU show. Everything that Echo had to offer, the more we get of the character of Maya herself, and seeing the rest of her family, her backstory, the flashbacks, her ancestors, the powers and the gift that she has, the funny moments, the emotional and hard-hitting moments, yeah, all really good. Great performances from Vincent D'Onofrio, Alaqua Cox, Jeffrey Jacobs, Cody Lightning, everybody that was a part of this show, and with its direction, the music and score, the songs, some good moments that came from this, the action, the suspense, the climax, just, yeah, and the cameos that we get here and there from, Charlie Cox and Jeremy Renner, and, with what more we learn about Echo, and with her having worked alongside with Kingpin, but when she learns the truth about Kingpin, some redemption comes to her, and, not wanting to inflict any harm and pain on her family, and just, yeah, just overall, Echo, I enjoyed. It was really good. And I'm giving Echo, well, why not? And because of, how much I've said that I've enjoyed it. 8 out of 10 stars. Yes, 8 out of 10 stars for Echo. And what about you guys? What did you think of the Marvel miniseries itself, the MCU miniseries on Disney Plus, Echo? Yeah, what did you think of it? Are you on the same page as me? Did you enjoy it? Which are some of your favorite episodes, your favorite moments, and with the characters, the more we get of the titled character herself, stuff that you didn't see coming and you thought was really cool, just, yeah, and did you have some good laughs? Did you get teary-eyed? Just, yeah. And how this show dives into the Native American culture, with this, and in Oklahoma. Yeah, that being important too. Yeah, just overall, what do you think of Echo itself? And has it been one of your favorite pieces of MCU material on Disney Plus? An MCU TV show. Just, yeah. Again, what do you think of Echo itself, and with what I've had to say, my review, and yeah, what did you think of my review? Leave comments and give this review video a like, as always. And so, with all that being said, thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed my review of Echo. More review videos are coming your way. They're going to be awesome. Keep looking forward, and I will see you guys in the next video / review. Take care, and until I review the next piece of Marvel material on Disney Plus, which, yeah, after Echo came out, we then got Agatha all along. Yeah, stay tuned for that. Take care, peace out, and Avengers, assemble.